There's a stroller in every store in this country that costs more than a used car. There are apps that promise to make your baby smarter, flashcards that promise early reading, subscription boxes stuffed with toys that light up and sing and cost $40 a month. And none of it does what one free 30-second habit does for your baby's brain. Researchers at Harvard spent years studying what actually builds a baby's brain in those first few years. Not the toys, not the screen time disguised as educational. Something so small most parents walk right past it 100 times a day without ever noticing it's there. Here's what's wild. Brain imaging studies have actually shown this. One study out of the Netherlands scanned toddlers' brains and found that the amount of one specific kind of interaction they got from a caregiver was directly linked to the actual size of certain brain structures. Not vocabulary, not screen time, this one thing. Scientists gave it a name: serve and return. And if you've never heard of it, you're not alone. Almost nobody has. But here's the part that should stop you cold. Most parents do half of it. They do the serve part just fine. It's the second half, the part that takes real deliberate patience, that almost nobody actually does. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that missing half looks like and how 3 seconds of waiting can do more for your baby than every toy in that store combined. Your baby is lying on a blanket on the floor, and she spots the ceiling fan turning slow circles above her. Her eyes lock onto it. Her arms go still. And then a small sound, not a word, just an ah, pointed right at that fan, like she's trying to tell you something about it. That's a serve. That's your baby reaching out in the only language she has, saying, "I noticed something. Come notice it with me." Here's what's happening in her brain in that exact moment. Every time a baby reaches out like this, with a sound, a look, a pointed finger, a gesture, and an adult responds back, something physical happens inside her head. Neural connections fire and strengthen. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child calls this back and forth serve and return, and they've spent decades documenting it as one of the most essential experiences in shaping how a young brain gets built. Not metaphorically, literally, wiring. And this isn't just a nice idea from a textbook. Researchers in the Netherlands actually put this to the test with brain scans. They looked at ordinary moments between parents and babies, the small, sensitive responses, the noticing, the responding, and then they scanned the toddlers' brains later on. What they found was that babies who got more of this back and forth serve and return actually showed differences in brain structure. Real, physical differences tied to something as simple as whether someone turned toward them when they made that little ah sound at the fan. Think about that for a second. Not the brand of stroller, not the app. A 3-second glance in the direction your baby is already looking. And here's the part that matters most. This has nothing to do with money. It doesn't matter if you're exhausted, if you're doing this alone, if you can't afford the classes or the toys everyone else seems to have. A baby on a blanket in a small apartment gets the exact same brain-building moment as a baby in a nursery full of imported wooden toys, because the moment isn't coming from the toys, it's coming from you turning your head. That's the serve. Almost every parent gives it back in some form. A smile, a word, yeah, that's a fan. But there's a second half to this exchange, a quieter half. And it's the half that almost nobody does, which is exactly why, coming up, I'm going to show you what it actually looks like and the simple, doable practice that turns an ordinary day into dozens of these moments without you having to change a single thing about your schedule. There's a famous experiment that shows exactly what happens when that second half goes missing. It's called the still face experiment, done by a researcher named Edward Tronick. Here's the setup. A mother sits with her baby, and they do what they normally do. She talks, she smiles, the baby coos back, they go back and forth, easy and warm. Then, for just a couple of minutes, the mother is asked to do one thing differently. She keeps looking at her baby, but her face goes completely still, no response, no return. And it's hard to watch what happens next. The baby tries harder at first, smiling bigger, reaching out, making more sounds, like she's saying, "Come back, notice me." When nothing comes back, she starts to fall apart, looking away, fussing. Genuine distress in under 2 minutes from one missing ingredient, the return. Then the mother's face comes back to life again, warm and responsive again, and just as fast the baby recovers, calm again. Because the wiring wasn't the problem, the waiting for a response was. Now, before you spiral into guilt about every time you didn't turn around fast enough, let's be clear, this isn't about being perfect. Nobody's baby is getting the still face on purpose, and a few missed moments in an exhausting day change nothing. This is about the pattern over time, not any single instant. You are not failing your baby because you were mid-load of laundry when she babbled at the dog. So here's the actual doable framework, the part almost no one is told. 1. Notice the serve. Just look for it. A sound, a stare, a pointed hand. You don't have to search for it. Babies are doing this constantly all day. You just have to catch it. 2. Return it out loud. Whatever she's looking at, name it. If she stares at the fan, you might just say, "Yeah, round and round, look at that." That's it. That's the whole line. 3. Then wait. This is the step almost every parent skips because it feels unnatural, like dead air. Count to 3 in your head. Let her respond in her own time, in her own way, even if it's just a kick, a blink, a sound. That silence is where her brain does its own work. 4. Take the next turn together. Whatever she does back, respond to that. Now it's a real exchange, a conversation, just without words yet. That's the whole practice. No products, no app open on your phone while your actual baby is in front of you. Just noticing, naming, and, the hardest part, waiting. That subscription box costing $40 a month can't do step 3 for you. No toy can wait on your baby's behalf. The waiting only comes from you. And it's free. If you've made it this far, here's the truth. You're already doing more of this than you think. Every time you've glanced over when she made a sound, every time you've said, "Oh, you found your feet," out of nowhere, every time you've leaned down to see what she's staring at, that was it. That was the thing. You didn't need a study to tell you to love your baby. You just needed to know that the small, ordinary noticing you already do is the whole point, not a warm-up to something bigger. This isn't really about a technique you add to your day. It's about who you're becoming while you do it. The kind of parent who turns toward instead of past. Not the parent with the fullest toy shelf, the one who's actually there, 3 seconds at a time, again and again, in a way no product could ever replicate. If this is the kind of thing you want more of, real, research-backed, no-nonsense ways to understand your baby, hit subscribe, because every week I break down another piece of the science behind these small moments, the ones nobody tells you matter as much as they do. And if this one helped you see your baby a little differently today, tap like so more parents find it too. So the next time she looks up at that fan or points at the dog or babbles at nothing you can see, don't rush past it. Serve, return, wait. That's the whole secret. And it was never a secret at all. It was just waiting for you to notice it back.